During this installation video for Cost of War, we're going to cover winning the game, in particular, acquiring victory points. There's a quick guide on your building cost sheet, which displays the victory points, as well as in the game manual. We're going to cover the list now and explain how each one is acquired. The first one on the list is having 6 civilians on one tile. As you can see here on my food, I have an attached owned land, and I have 3 civilians on that tile. For me to gain 1 victory point, I could do it one of 2 ways. I could either purchase 3 more civilians and add them to that tile, or I could have simply, during my tactical movement phase, moved them over from the right to the left, and now I have 1 victory point. Although, if any one of these settlers is lost or captured during a battle from an offensive player, or I were to move them back at any time, I would lose that victory point. So it has to be held and maintained to keep the victory point. In addition to that, that last one I just went over was 1 victory point. The second one is called a capital. And the capital would be 2 victory points. In order to achieve a capital, you need to have the 6 civilians and all 3 buildings. So I would need to put 6 civilians there on any owned land, plus the 3 buildings, and that's 2 victory points. Should be noted that you cannot have the 2 victory points from a capital as well as 1 victory point from the civilians. You can only have one of those 2, and it would make more sense to have the 2 victory points from the capital. So the civilians would be canceled out if both were present on the board. Moving along, the other victory point is called the Peacemaker. That's gained by obtaining 2 special events. 2 special event cards, and actually not using those special events. In order to gain a special event during an attack, you need to roll the 2 parachutes, and that allows you to unlock the card and purchase it. You would go to the special event pile, flip over the top card, which is an atomic bomb. You would keep that on in your inventory, and you would not want to display it to anyone else. You could flip it over. It's an unused card. And a second one would have to be purchased. And this is throughout the game, you're going to be acquiring these special events. So as long as you don't use them and you have 2 unused cards, that's 1 more victory point. Next is Conquered Land Token. If we were to move up here, you can see that the red die has a 6 strength, and he can, and this is, if we're later in the game here and he's a lieutenant, he's going to be able to attack up or attack diagonal. And in this situation, he has a good chance of obtaining a victory point. He can either attack diagonal, and if he's successful in killing those 2 soldiers, there's no other fortification or defense, he would then conquer that land. And now he owns that land. And by conquering an owned land tile, you obtain 2 victory points. Additionally, the next one is called Forced Assimilation, and it's the same concept of conquering an owned land, but you're conquering an owned home city, and that actually gives you 3 victory points. The last way to obtain the victory points is through being the Ruthless Slaughterer, and that is gained by having the most kill tally out of anyone in the game. So, an example, the red team could have 12 kills, and the blue team could have 4 kills. Well, because the red team has at least 10 kills, they're now qualified for the Ruthless Slaughter, which is 2 victory points. And lastly, Genocide is 3 victory points, and that's when the first team reaches 18 kills. And ultimately, you cannot have Genocide and Ruthless Slaughter, so it's at any given time whoever has the most kills, and as long as one team is at least at 10 kills, those victory points are at play. So that's a general overview of obtaining these victory points, and we'll have more videos regarding some of these other game mechanics further on.